Cluster analysis of motivational management of personnel support of IT companies. Authors of the article Anastasiya Karpyak and Olga Rybytska. Presenter me, Anastasiya Karpyak. The proposed results are part of a study devoted to the analysis of the causes of the staff shortage in Ukrainian IT companies and ways to solve them. The article examines the motivational component of business models of IT companies in Ukraine, such as compensation, working conditions, career, project loyalty, and the general consolidated index. The research was conducted by cluster analysis of statistical data hosted by companies on the platforms JOBS.DOU.UA, Clutch, and LinkedIn. Cluster analysis of the mentioned indicators with the addition of data on the scale of companies. Ukraine is a supplier country of human capital. In 2021, the IT industry received a record growth of plus 37%, confidentially reaching first place in terms of exports of services. The growth of the IT industry is projected in the future, but staff shortage are significantly hampering this development. In 2021, more than 112,000 vacancies were published on JOBS platform. Feedback on vacancies is rapidly declining. Most vacancies remain unfilled. The reason for the lack of skilled workers in the field of informational technology in general are discussed on numerous platforms. However, the global problem cannot be solved quickly, in particular due to the large-scale invasion of the Russian aggressor in Ukraine. The management of IT companies must satisfy their staffing requirements based on the internal reserves of available human capital. The desire and the economic need to hire the best professionals in the face of growing competition gives to potential employees freedom to choose the best employer. Employees of IT enterprises become pioneers among employees of other industries, for whom the work is personified with a certain occupation, with the business as well, and not with attachment to a particular workplace or organization, regulated working hours, and organizational hierarchy. Given the crucial role of professional qualities of team members and the growing competition of IT companies, employee motivation is becoming a crucial factor in forming, maintaining, and building a team. The professional and human qualities involved in the team of specialists come to the fore and become an integral part of the company's description in the IT market. In this research, we analyzed the data and anonymous survey of employees of the IT enterprises in Ukraine, published on the platform JOBS.DOU.UA. We analyzed 5 key indicators: compensation, working conditions, career, project, and loyalty. Then we used the clustering method to examine the collected data. Clustering is the division of a set of objects into subsets, clusters, that do not intersect, to combine into separate groups of the most similar to each other. Objects that differ significantly due to the clustering will belong to different clusters. There is a high probability that the input data will not be clearly distributed between clusters, and as a result, the separation obtained by using the elbow method will not correspond to the highest score of breaking quality. So we propose to combine this elbow method with the simplified silhouette method. The results of the elbow method and the method of estimating the silhouette of finding the optimal number of clusters gave us division into 5 clusters. Due to the lack of some indicators on all IT companies registered in Ukraine, we decided to focus our research on 236 brand companies for which we managed to collect complete information on the mentioned indicators of motivation, the scale of the company, and the percentage of employees in Ukraine. First, we clustered by categories of employee satisfaction indices. OX axis is compensation. OY axis is working conditions. Clustering by categories of employee satisfaction indices gave us the next results. Cluster 0, 55 companies with the highest performance in all indices. Cluster 1, 94 companies with higher than average satisfaction indices. Cluster 2, 60 companies with average employee satisfaction indices. Cluster 3, 25 companies with lower than average employee satisfaction indices. And Cluster 4, it was formed by two companies, Politechnic and Ubisoft, with the lowest rates. Second step was clustering by scale and employee satisfaction index. The OX axis is the number of employees in hundreds and the OY axis is the consolidated index, which value of employee satisfaction. Clustering by scale and employee satisfaction index gave us next results. The highest and lowest are the indices of satisfaction of employees of enterprises in companies with the smallest number and with a large percentage of Ukrainian employees. Employees which work in companies with more than 7,000 employees rated satisfaction as average, first and second cluster. Exceptions are large enterprise Ubisoft with 21,636 employees in whole world, 3% of them are in Ukraine, and Politech with 630 employees, this is 26% Ukrainian team members. Clustering by satisfaction indices and the enterprise scale gave us the next result. The OX axis is the percentage of Ukrainian employee and OY axis is the compensation category. Figure illustrates that fact that more than 85% of employees in almost all Ukrainian IT companies are satisfied with wages. Exceptions are the large company Ubisoft and the medium-sized company Politech. Illustrations of the relationship between the percentage of Ukrainian workers and other categories of satisfaction indices are similar. The lowest average for enterprises with a high share of employees registered in Ukraine was recorded in the category Career Growth. The joint clustering of these data showed a significant relationship between the percentage of Ukrainian employees in the company and all satisfaction indices without exception. So, companies with a high share of Ukrainian employees show a high level of salary satisfaction. Joint clustering, according to the same indicators, proves the independence of the project satisfaction index from the percentage of Ukrainian employees. Only companies with more than 80% of employees registered in Ukraine show high satisfaction with working conditions. Career satisfaction is slightly lower. This study allowed us to conclude that large IT companies with a high and significant share of employees registered in Ukraine carry out motivational management at the appropriate level. Companies with almost 100% Ukrainian team members show the highest level of satisfaction in all indices. Specialists in the Ukrainian IT industry are well motivated. Lack of motivation is not a deterrent to the potential growth of the industry. This result confirms the prepared and published conclusion of the Center of Economic Revival That is, the reason for the lack of skilled workers involved in the field of informational technology lie on the other field, the educational one. Thank you for your attention. For further information, please contact me, Anastasiya Karpyak and Olga Rybytska.